A stunning looking watch from Benyar. Quality vs price paid equals value gained or lost. I think Benyar have a winner here. The Explorer inspiration to this watch is clear enough, but what makes the Benyar Explorer Homage stand out are quality control offered by their parent brand Pagani Design. The watch gets a signed, solid, stainless steel bracelet, a wide open exhibition back, revealing the rotor and the balance wheel. An open and uncluttered dial with a subdued and elegant sunburst effect. But the key standout feature of this watch is its automatic movement. And all of this good stuff is just 30 bucks. In fact, I think I paid just $32 for this Benyar piece right here. Now, that's not a lot of money, and as I did mention, maybe it's a good thing that Pagani Design is the parent brand of the Benyar, because obviously Pagani does produce some very nice and quality pieces. So it does help this budget brand stand out from the other budget brands out there on AliExpress. So 30 bucks. There have been shortcuts made. There have. We need to understand that, because for 30 bucks we get a beautiful piece, because it is a handsome watch. We can't take it away from Benyar. But it's not all roses, and we'll be talking about those downfalls as well on this video. Now, just before we kick off, 30 bucks, I've left the link to the listing I got this watch from in the description below the video, so make sure to check it out if you are after a sharp price, and of course if you do like this watch. So without further ado, let's get into a detailed review of the Benyar BY5177. Let's do it. Let's kick off with the dimensions. So we get a diameter of 40.8 millimeters. The lug-to-lug length is 49.8 millimeters. The lug-to-lug width is 21 millimeters and the height is 13.9 millimeters. Now the weight is 135 grams, but that's after I removed 4 links to fit my 6.5-inch wrist. In regards to the case design, there are a few good things to say as well as a few not so good things. Let me talk about the negatives first, and there is basically one big negative here, and that is the case is actually made out of a zinc alloy. The bracelet is stainless steel, but the rest of the case is zinc alloy. Now that we got that out of the way, let's keep going. The case is polished all around, on the rounded flanks as well as the lug hoods. The flanks are nicely sculpted, they're rounded laterally, making smooth transitions to the underside and to the top of the watch. If we look at the watch from the side, the profile of it is quite flat. The lugs are only slightly curving downwards at the tips, but considering the inverted end links design and quite a modest lug-to-lug length of 49 millimeters, that's fine. As you can see, there's no overhang on my 6.5-inch wrist. The fixed bezel has been applied so right. It actually slightly overhangs the basin on the sides. It even rears onto the end links. This styling allows for distinctive layering of the watch. Also, it essentially makes the watch visually larger than it really is. The bezel chamfers are flat and also polished to a high gloss. The flat surfaces across the bezel edge and its top side create contrast to the rolling and rounded flanks and lug hoods. The light play on the case is intense and quite unique in that regard. If I didn't tell you about the alloy case, you'd be none the wiser about it, not being stainless steel, because the watch is quite heavy and there's hardly any color nor texture indicators that it's an alloy case. On the underside we get a solid stainless steel screw down exhibition back. It's wide open. Even though the rotor is undecorated, it gets cutouts that allow you to see most of the powering mechanism. The push-pull crown is unsigned and looks smaller when looking from above due to the bezel overhang. Nice touch. In regards to the bracelet, we get a solid stainless steel bracelet here. It's held together by push pins. The bracelet is rather good. It's solid, it's hefty, and the links are consistent and evenly brushed on the inner and outer surfaces. There's no sharp edges here. The outer faces are polished. The tolerances are okay. There is also decent fluidity to the links. The shortcuts taken here become evident when we get to the clasp. Even though it's signed, it's pressed, and there are no micro adjustments. Considering the removable links are 9mm wide, it's going to be a hassle to find the right fit here. In regards to the crystal, well, we have a flat mineral glass here. That's basically it, and there's no anti-reflective either. Now on the back, so the exhibition back, it's also mineral glass, of course, so there's no sapphire sandwich here, but that's really sort of expected, right, at the $30 price mark. And now let's go in and talk about the dial, because the dial is definitely a strong point on this watch. The dial is handsome, no doubt about that. We have a mixture of applied and printed elements. There are 3 dial colors available, so you can get the black, the white, or this blue. There is a radiant sunburst effect from the dial center point. The applied indices and numerals get lume and are edged in chrome. The printed minute track is right up against the deep and reflective rehaut, so once again availing a lot of light play, not only on the case but also on the dial. I want to particularly mention the printed text of the logo and brand name under the 12 o'clock upside down triangle and the 3 lines of text above the 6 o'clock position. The text gets a grayish color that does not contrast the dial in a distractive way. You hardly notice it in a good way. The dial remains open, balanced and symmetrical. The key word on the dial though is automatic. The minute and hour hands are the Mercedes hand styling, and that is an organic look for this Homage. The seconds hand smoothly sweeps around the dial with a lollipop pointer. The counterbalance of the seconds pointer is also a chromed lollipop. And once again, it's a small element, but it shows attention to detail and quite a bit of elegance. Now let me give you a look of the lume, and we can see that, well, it's sort of decent enough at the price point. We can't say it's really that bright, and we can't see that it will go on for quite a long time. It won't. But once again, is that really expected from a $30 automatic watch? In regards to the movement, well, we've got a Chinese automatic here. We know that we get 37 hours of power reserve, we know that it's a hackable movement, and we also know that it's sort of dependable because it's usually used in the sub $100 price ranges of automatic watches on AliExpress. So it's been around for quite a bit and still being sold, so it must be decent enough. And that's basically that. This is a review of the Benyar BY5177. Now, what do I think of the watch? Well, I think that for 30 bucks, my expectations were not all that high. But what we do have here is a great looker. The dial looks amazing. The keywords are automatic. Now, of course, it's not a Japanese automatic. It's a Chinese automatic. You know, it's kind of plain, but it does the job quite well. We get an exhibition case back. Now that is also quite rare, and it's not just that little exhibition case back, no, it's a wide open case back. What I do like is that the rotor is actually quite unique and interesting. There are apertures or cutouts in it, so you can see most of the mechanism, and that does look pretty neat. Also the sunburst effect, it looks elegant because it's subdued, it's not as loud. Now, there's no anti-reflective coating and the rehaut is reflective, so the light play, it could have been much worse if the sunburst effect wasn't as subdued. So I think interesting enough. Also, I just want to mention that the applied indices here are actually quite crisp and well defined. Also the text. It's not in your face, it's not contrasting, it's not distracting you from this beautiful and quite a balanced dial. So to cut it short, what do I think? For 30 bucks, great price. For 50, potentially I would want a stainless steel case and maybe some anti-reflective coating. For 100 with sapphire, but for 30, I'm happy with it as it is. Now, I've left the link to the listing I got this watch from in the description below the video, so make sure to check it out if you want to get a sharp price. Thanks for watching. If you did like the video, please drop me a like. If you want to see more of the same, please hit the red subscribe button below the video, and I'll see you in the next one.